We'll get started here. Bryan Houston with Coach Randy McFarlin as we get ready for tonight's ball game between White House and Marshall. They're coming off of a big win over Sulphur Springs, 38-33 last Friday. Talk a little bit about how you felt about that ball game.
Well, very typical White House Sulphur Springs game. Very exciting. It was a great spectator ball game. I mean, wasn't over to the end. Very proud we came out on top on the scoreboard. A couple of keys for us was the ability to create turnovers, which I think won the ball game for us. Defensively, a couple of fumble recoveries, calls fumbles and the fumble recovery kind of saved the game. But very pleased to beat a team such as Sulphur Springs, come away with the win's great for us.
Absolutely. Now, you guys got down 20-7 at one point in the ball game. Ever concerned, ever worried about the way the game was going?
Well, at that point, yes, a little bit. We just had a couple of breakdowns, and Sulphur executed quite well, probably the best offensive line we will face. And they weren't anything special. We just had to settle down and do what we knew we could do to slow them down. Then our offense picked up, and we could score points. Mahomes has an innate ability to extend the play, and it's scary from a coaching aspect. You wish you just execute the play called and make it work, but if it's not there, he has a great ability to scramble and extend the play and make something big happen.
Well, you mentioned that because before that ball game, you were rotating your quarterbacks, and we knew Cheatham could run the football. We hadn't seen much of Mahomes running the football, but we found out the other night he's a dual threat.
Yeah, and that wasn't our plan going in. We had packages for Ryan to come in and play. And in a ball game such as that one, there was just never a time to make that change. And so we continue with Patrick. But, that sort of surprised us, Patrick's ability to run. And it's off of a play where he has the option to pull the ball. And he pulled it and made it work. So very pleased with that. But, Ryan still got to figure into our game plan. He's too good an athlete not to use him at some point.
One of the things that you guys did a lot, and I want to ask you about it, I knew a lot of times there were a lot of deep balls thrown in the ball game. Was that just to try to let your wide receivers go up and make a play, or did he see something that necessitated him going deep as many times as you did that night?
Well, honestly, that wasn't in the game plan. Okay. That's Patrick taking something and doing something with it that wasn't planned. There again, we got some interference calls off of it. It's very effective when you got good receivers, but that's part of the game that I'd like to reel in a little bit and say, look, here we go. Here's our reads. Execute the read. If it's not there, let's don't take a shot against everybody down the field like that.
And amazingly enough, like you said, you got away with it a few times. I know a couple of times I figured that it was not necessarily called because a lot of times there were 2 and 3 defensive backs around the receiver when he threw it.
Yeah, some of those plays were just scrambles, extending the play, and kids getting open. There again, it's great to be able to do that. But I say, hey, we're going to play people one of these days that can take that away from you. They match up with you and can take that away. So we have to work on execution offensively to execute the play call and make it work.
Defenses are really working hard to try to take Dylan Cantrell out of the plays, and you still get receptions, you still get yardage on it, but it's really giving the other kids an opportunity. Jake Parker had a big ball game the other night.
It does. Like I said earlier, we have a great receiver core. All 4 of them can make plays, and when they try to take Dylan away, yes, it opens up the reads for Jake, for Jalen, and for Patterson also. So very pleased with their play. And there again, it's the quarterback understanding the coverage, know where he needs to go with the ball, which quarterbacks are doing good with that.
Talk a little bit about your defense. First thing I want to ask you about, were you surprised at all that Sulphur Springs used the Ingram kid at quarterback as much as they did when Mosek was the guy that threw for over 400 yards the week before against Sherman?
No. In fact, we worked on the general game plan Monday and Tuesday. Wednesday, we said, all right, number 10's at quarterback. And all day Wednesday, everything we worked was with him back there. We anticipated him being there. You go back to the Hallsville game, we had trouble with the running quarterback. And we also evaluate ourselves and said, all right, this is what people had success with us against. They've got the same match there. We had prepared for it. Sometimes it didn't look like we had, but we had planned for it. And our kids just broke down some on the responsibility, but did not surprise me that was their game plan.
Well, he didn't burn you running the football, and that was one of the things that was, I thought, impressive about your defense.
Yeah, we did slow him down. I mean, they got a little bit. They hit us with a couple of big plays in the passing game, which the other quarterback was in, and he's had the ability to throw that what we call a one ball in the seam. Not many quarterbacks can do that. Ours can, and Sulphur's can, but we had to adjust some coverage on the big play we gave up. But I mean, you hold a team like Sulphur Springs to 33. With the turnovers that we gave them, the interception return, which put them and gave them new life, I will take it when we're able to win the ball game.
You got 2 fumble recoveries in the final 15 minutes of the ball game, and you mentioned when we were talking before we started the interview that that probably was what won the ball game for you there. Talk a little bit about the way your defense is playing right now.
Well, first, the turnovers, I don't think it's by accident. We have added an addition to our workout schedule this year. We do a strip circuit in which we emphasize attacking the ball. We show the kids ways to get the ball out of the ball carrier's hands. We work on the tip drill. That's 10 minutes every Monday, and I think that work is carrying over in the ball game for those kids to see the ball and attack the ball. That was critical in the ball game. Without those 2 turnovers, that's possibly 2 scores, and we lose the ball game. Defense creating turnovers, still our defense is, I think, the number one most improved part of our game. And we just need to continue getting better and better and making plays and going forward with it.
And Nate Brooks was your playmaker the other night. He had a couple of those pass breaks up, a tackle for a loss, a fumble recovery. He broke up a game-tying 2-point conversion attempt.
Nate is a sophomore that coming in was a quarterback all last year on the JV, on the freshman team, and has actually grown a whole lot this summer, and I call it swagger. I like Nate's swagger on the football field. He doesn't play like a sophomore. He's confident. You can just tell in his body language, and he's done tremendous for a little old skinny sophomore out there at corner.
And Reggie Long making that tackle there on 4th down at the Sulphur Springs game when they were trying to keep the drive alive that could have been the going-ahead touchdown possibly. That was huge.
Yeah, Reggie's kind of our leader over there on the defensive side. Reggie needs to increase his tackle. As a Mike backer, he should have more tackles than he have, but he's getting better. He's coming off of surgery on his shoulder, and he's gaining confidence each week in that shoulder also.
All right, we're going to come back. We'll talk about Marshall in just a moment. This is the Coach Randy McFarlin Show on 99.3 Talk FM. Back here with Coach Randy McFarlin tonight, the Marshall Mavericks, who are really struggling right now. They got beat by Longview 48-0. It was 34-0 at halftime. A very, very young football team.
Yeah, Marshall's what I consider a very dangerous football team. They have played 3 very good opponents: Kilgore, Bird out of Shreveport, and then Longview. They're struggling for an identity right now offensively. They don't really know what to do. They'll formation you to death. They have some speed. They have some ability. And if they could just put it together, they could be good. And we hope they just don't put it together tonight.
They throw a freshman quarterback at you. You don't see that very often in varsity football, especially in 4A.
No, and you can tell he's a freshman. He's nothing like the quarterbacks we've seen. But there again, if they could just settle on what they want to do and do it well, they've got some kids that can run. He's not going to beat you throwing the ball, I don't think, but their passing game is throw it deep. Their number one passing is just drop back and throw the ball deep, and that's typical Marshall, but their speed on the outside and go deep. But, it's the kids around the freshman that's going to have to step up and carry him.
How do you get ready for a football team like that then when you're not quite sure what they're going to do from week to week?
Yeah, it's very difficult. You end up over-preparing. You look at what they've done, and they've shown 55 different formations in 3 ball games, and you have to work some base rules on all the formations, and get your kids lined up, and then it's a lot of adjustment during the game when you kind of figure out what they're doing. Same way defensively, what we've seen them, they've been on defense in run teams, and we have not seen them against a spread team. And last year they gave what we call a 3-3 stack, 6 guys in the box. And we're anticipating, are they going to give us that, or are they going to play their 4-man front? So there again, on the offense side, we don't know what we're going to get yet.
And you talked about reevaluating yourself after each week then, and looking at your team right now, what are some things that you really want to see improvement on in this coming week?
Offensively, the first drive we put together the other night is an indication of what we would like offensively. Executed, marched the ball down the field. There wasn't any scrambling. execute the play called, and put the ball in the end zone. We want that more consistent operation of our offense. Defensively, like I said, we've got to become our linebackers. We've got to start making a few more tackles, and our defensive ends last night got confused on some calls, and we're about, okay, why did they get confused? Why did they make the error there? But then in the end, Beaton's big sack there from the defensive end spot was huge late in the ball game. So there again, we gave up too much yardage, too much points against Sulphur. So we got to say, why? What do we need to do if we see another team such as them?
And so what do you think of the keys to victory against Marshall then tonight?
We have to get lined up on their offensive formations, get lined up correctly so we don't put ourselves in a disadvantage. Offensive, we have to make the adjustment to what they're going to be showing us defensively. Hold on to the football, not allow an 0-3 team to get into the ball game, because if they're in the ball game, they become tougher and tougher the longer the game goes.
Mm-hmm. Well, Coach, best of luck to you. 3-0, great start. I hope it goes to 4-0 tonight.
That's what we're planning. So we'll get a great effort from our kids and see if it works.
Very good. Coach Randy McFarlin as the White House Wildcats get ready to take on Marshall tonight. And this is the Randy McFarlin Show on Bryan 99.3 Talk FM. Back in a moment.